G'day guys, welcome back. Great effort getting this far in the series, guys. We're really reaching the end now. Look, you've got FME server running, that's fantastic. We have, on at least this environment, we've got one engine running. You may not yet, because maybe you wanted to run your one engine remotely. So that's what we're going to do today. So we've got everything set up already. We've got our database, we've got core set up already. So hopefully this is a pretty painless process. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so on the server here, and actually no, I'm on my local machine here, see? So I'm connected to the server via its IP address in the browser. So I just want to show you something. So if we log in, I want to get a snapshot of what it looks like currently in terms of our engines. So we go to Engine Management and Overview, and we can see we've got the host FME Flow Core, which has the one engine on it, and our engine list should be here. So what we're going to do is try to add in a second engine in here, and we'll see what this then looks like afterwards. Okay, so we got 0. None of our engines are like running any jobs, so that's why it shows 0 out of 1 running. But hopefully this will then show 0 out of 2 running, and then in the next video we'll go actually run them both to make sure they're all working properly. Okay, so back on the server, so I've still got this remote desktop connection open. This is FME server or FME core, and one thing we just need to get ready here is to go into here. I just want to show you C drive and this FME Flow share. So we need to make sure this is available and shared on the network, because we're going to set up a whole separate virtual machine to put the engine on, and it's going to read from here. Okay, so if we just go to properties, you just want to make sure sharing's turned on. So we're going to access this folder from the other machine from there. Okay, so let's close that, and we're all good here. I know that one's being shared. So we're going to shrink this one. We're going to start a new virtual machine, create a new virtual machine. So let's go to Azure. So this is just portal.azure.com if you don't remember. But we're going to go up here and we'll go virtual machines. And this is our FME Flow existing virtual machine. We're going to create a new one. So create virtual machine. And it's pretty much going to be the same as what we already have on FME Flow Core. So keep your same subscription. We're going to go and make sure it's on the same resource group. Virtual machine can be this time FME Flow Engine. And I'm going to keep it Australia East, same as availability zone. Let's go down. We'll keep that as zone 1. We're going to use a Windows server. So the one I want is the Windows Server 2025 Data Center Azure. We'll leave that x64. Spoke about this before. For this one, I mentioned these in an earlier video. We're going to go with the standard 4 CPUs and 16 gig of RAM, just so it's easy for me to make the video, but you choose what size you want depending on what your workload's going to be. And yep, so we're going to have our username and password. This is the admin account, remember? So the admin local user account on the server. So we'll call it FME admin. Alright, so we've got the ports here. So we're going to allow remote desktop connections on this one. On core, we actually had HTTPS and HTTP. We shouldn't need that for engine, right? Because the core is the one that communicates to it. It doesn't need to be accessed from outside the network. So we're going to leave it that way. And then once again, we've got this warning, which we know about now. And we're going to go restrict that down to just our own IP later on. So I think we're good here. So let's go next to disks. We'll leave this as default. I'm just going to hold with the premium SSD. Oh no, I think I changed this last time. Well, you choose the type of disk that you want. It's going to be read and write speed on the engine machine. But for the most part, it's, yeah, I don't know. It's much of a muchness really. So we'll go next, networking. We'll configure this a little bit later on after we create the machine. So let's go create, well, review and create. Okay, validation's passed, and it's just asking us if we're happy with this. I think we're happy. Let's go create it. All right, so you get into this deployment is in progress, and then this will take a while to start up. All right, so I'll cut back when we get to that. Okay, so the remote engine virtual machine is now set up, as you can see on the screen here. Deployment complete. So let's go to resource, and we'll go set up our network settings in here now. So it's got its new public IP address. That's what we'll use to connect to it. But before we do anything meaningful on it, let's go to network settings. And we'll go to the RDP connection here, and we're just going to change this guy to my IP address, and then hit save on that. Okay, so that's ready to go. So let's go back over here, and I think we can go and connect to the machine now. So let's do that. So we'll go connect. And download RDP file. Let's go keep FME Flow Engine, and it's all just automatically gone and put in the IP address for us using the RDP file. And then we can log in. So this is the account that you set up earlier. Let's just go remember me and go OK. And do we trust this computer? Yeah, I think we do. And we'll go connect to him. We'll go to Edge, start without data, confirm and continue, continue without Google. All right, so we're going to the browser and just search for FME Flow Installer. And if we go to downloads, and once again, we want this one. So not the engine only actually, we just want the full installer. So we'll go download. And this shouldn't take too long. So while that's downloading guys, we're gonna go have a look at the file share that we have set up from FME Flow Core. So if you open your your Explorer, and you should be able to just put in this address, so the host name of your core. So in this series we've called it FME-Flow-Core with a double backslash at the front. It's the UNC network path, and you should be able to see the directory here. So we want to make sure we can get into here and we can make edits and things. So let's just right click on here and go and just create a text document and make sure we can write to it, and we can. So it should be okay for us to go and give this to FME Engine to access this share directory, okay? So it's going to need this, and it's going to need the details to the database. So I'll go ahead and delete that, knowing that we should be ready to go now, and our installer should almost be done. Okay, let's have a look at it. I don't know if it's completely finished yet. Yeah, it's still unconfirmed. Okay, I think it's ready to go now. So let's close that browser window down. We've got our Flow share directory ready to go, so we can run the installer now. So let's run the installer and go through the steps for installation. Okay, so once again, first thing is the extractions. Let's go quickly run this extraction, and I will cut back once this is finished. You've seen this before, it's the same installation file. But this time we're going to install it with the engine settings, right? Instead of the core settings. So let's get into that when this finishes extracting. Okay, we're back. It's actually the next day for me now, but the server, I've left the server the way it was. And it's finished extracting, and we can start the installation wizard. So let's get into it. It'll be very similar to Core with a few different settings just for the engine. So obviously we'll agree to that. We did this last time when we installed Core. This time we're going to go Distributed Engine-only. So we'll go next on that guy. We'll install it in the default location. And okay, so this time, we used local system account before for when we installed Core, But that's not going to work for the engine, because this engine machine will actually need to get access to that flow directory, right? And you can't do that with a local system account. So we're going to have to go specify user account, and then we'll put in the password for the local user FME admin. So this is just the user account that you, I don't know if I did that right, that you logged into this machine with, all right? The local admin user. So we'll go next on that. So the FME Flow share, let's open File Explorer again. It is this guy here, and in this directory here. So we'll grab that path. So there's // FME Flow Core, so the FME Flow Core machine, and then the FME Flow share directory. So put that in there. Go next. And specify the name of the machine hosting the FME Flow Core that this installation will connect to. That's fine. So that's going to be the host name. So FME-Flow-Core. So this is going to be whatever you called the FME Flow Core machine. Okay. Our one in this series is called FME Flow Core. So that's what I'm going to put there. And then we can leave this one. This one's just the local machine. So this host name needs to resolve to a proper IP address that you can access. And I know this works because obviously when we go in here and we navigate to this directory, we can see the file share of that machine. So we'll go next. And then the Postgres database. So the engine also needs access to the Postgres database that we've set up for our FME installation, right? So in this series we did Postgres. If you did any of the other ones, you want to select one of the other ones. So we go next. And I always forget the host name here, so I'm going to go back to Azure to go grab that host name connection. So let's minimize this. Back in Azure, we can go to the Flow database and go to connect under settings, and the host name's here. So I'm going to copy that guy, go back onto our setup, and host name, paste it in there. The port's obviously going to be the same unless you set that differently, and the database name, we left it at FME Flow. So that is the database name that we've set up. So it's all the defaults. We go next. And then the password is just the FME Flow database user password that you set up, okay? So make sure you put that in correctly, otherwise you're going to have issues later. So we'll go next, and I think that's it. So this is our installation setup now. We'll just hit next on this. This is more related to when you're doing a core install, which you've seen already in the previous videos. So we'll go install. And once again, this will take some time. Now, while this is installing, the engine machine and the core machine will need a couple of firewall rules set up, okay? So we're just going to go do that. Okay, so since we're on the engine machine, we'll set up the firewall rules on here first. So if we go to here and look for, the one, Windows Defender Firewall, should open up this window, and we'll go to inbound rules, and we'll create a new rule, and we're going to open up some ports. So it's going to be port, and next. And then for the specific local ports, we want it to be TCP, and these are the ports, okay? So it's 7069, and then a comma, because we're going to put a few, 7070, 7071, and 7500. You get these from the FME documentation on the ports that FME Flow needs, okay? So you get these online, but I'll put in a link to the description of this video for that document. So we'll go next on that, and we'll allow those connections, and next, and then we'll just go FME engine ports. Finish on that, okay. And that should solve that problem. Close down. we need to do the same thing on the FME Core machine. So while this is installing, we'll just minimize this, go to our FME Flow Core machine, and do the exact same thing on here, because it needs to be a two-way sort of setup. So inbound rules, new rule again, port, TCP, and the ports again 7069, 7070, 7071, 7500. Next on that, I'll have connection on all, and we'll just call this again FME Engine ports. We'll finish on that. Okay. The other thing you want to make sure as well is in your Azure setup, if you go to networking, that the machines can actually talk to each other, okay? So by default, that's usually the setup, but if you had Google Cloud or I don't know, Amazon, maybe it's different on there. You just need to make sure the machines can talk on those ports, okay? All right, so we're just gonna leave this, let this run, and we'll come back once the installation is finished running. Okay, the installation is finished running, so let's hit this finish button. And you'd think you'd see something, but no. Okay, so I think everything has been set up. If everything's working, we should be able to go into here, go to all, and it probably started by itself already, but if we just hit the start FME Flow here, this should start the engine. And we can see service has already been started. Yeah, it can't be started because it's already been started. And you can also check on the service in the Windows services. So if we go to start and then just look for services. And in this window here, we just scroll down, should see FME Flow Engines. That's the service we've got running. And you can see here, it's not using a local system to run. It's running off of the FME admin. So if we right click on this and go to properties, we should see that it's running. If you have any issues with it, you'll see that in the window, it'll like start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And that's usually because either the ports aren't open for it, or it can't access that shared directory. Okay, so make sure you get those set up. Okay, so, but now with the engine running on the engine machine, we should be able to go into FME Flow Core's console now. So go back on your local machine here and get into FME Flow Core by putting in its IP address at the top. And that'll take us to the dashboard where we can check in our engines, but I've forgotten one thing. Okay, so when a new engine gets registered against FME Server Core, FME Server Core will allocate a port to that engine, and you need to manually open up that port in a firewall. And I'll show you where you'll see the error, okay? So go to FME Flow Core machine and go to your File Explorer and find the logs. So the logs are in the Flow share directory, so this one here. So wherever you've set this up, so FME Flow Share, this is where everything sort of connects to, all the engines, FME Core, everything. So go to Resources, Logs, and if you go to Core Logs, Current, and find FME Server Logs, so you open this guy, just open up in Notepad, and you scroll down, and you'll see that, okay, so at the bottom there, it's good, but you'll see there's all these errors coming up, and you'll probably get this on your end as well if you haven't opened up this port. I don't know how you know what port to open when you register a new engine, but you check these logs and you can see it's trying to register the engine on port 51522, and it's failing to register, and that's because they haven't opened up this port yet on this machine, so the core machine. So all you want to do is just go into your firewall settings again, and go to inbound rules, and let's just add it to this rule here. So we go to properties, protocols and ports, and we'll go 51522 and hit OK on that. So 51522, 51522 on here. and I'm not sure if you need to do this, but to be safe, we're going to do it on the engine machine as well. So firewall again. Yeah, engine ports, properties, go ports, and we'll have that 51522 on there as well, and hit OK. And now if we go and have a look at the log files, you should see, because it'll keep trying to connect to it, right? The engine will keep trying to connect. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you find the previous one, the previous error, and then the most recent record, if everything's working, should show you that the port was opened and the engine has been able to successfully register and it's waiting for requests. Okay, so now if we exit this and back into our admin dashboard, we should see it show up in the engine management. So we go to engines, and there we can see our 2 engine hosts. You can see we've got 0 of 2 engines available. 2 engines available, none of them currently running, so no jobs running. And we can see both our engines here now, ready to go. So that's where we wanted to get to, guys. If we want to have a quick tests, we can do that now as well. I know this video has gotten super long because I tried to do everything in one hit, but let's go back into here. If we run some workspaces, we should be able to see them come up on the engines. So we'll go run, we can run Hello Lizard workspace here. So we'll just run this one, and that's processing. So if we go to jobs, you can see it is now running, but it's only running on one engine. So we actually want to sort of spam this job a little bit. So if we go to completed, we should be able to see it here. So I've run a few as we've gone along. So it's already completed. So what we want to do to test both engines, we'll just resubmit a bunch of jobs. See how it keeps grabbing. And we should see firstly a couple queued. No, we don't have any running. Okay. Oh, we had an error here. We tried to run it too many times. Don't know what happened. It failed to be archived, adequate disk space in the archive folder. Okay, that's fine. But now we've run a bunch of jobs. We can see a couple of them have executed now. If we go to the engines, and we click on one of these engines, we can see that this engine completed all of these jobs, and this engine has completed these 2 jobs. So this is obviously the primary engine. Most jobs will, at the moment by default, prioritize to this one. But if there's 2 jobs that need to run, the second engine will run as well. And it looks like now, because I spammed that job, we had some issues with archive space. So it's probably another config thing we need to have a look at. But yeah, that's how we set up our engines, guys. I'm glad you stuck around for this long. If you had licensing for more engines and you wanted to run more, you could go set up more machines, register them all the same way. A couple of gotchas there with the ports. The other way to do it is to open all ports and then just have all your setup running. And then once it's all set up, then you go and restrict the ports back down. So that's the only real gotcha there. But that sort of brings us to the end of the main series now. You know how to do a distributed FME setup. So the only other thing that I might do is have a look at setting up HTTPS on the FME core machine so that we don't access it through this public IP address. That'll sort of be different to everyone's environment separately. So I will do them in a separate little series for this, just as a one hitter, because I know that's something that a lot of organizations need to do, and that might be helpful. But that brings us to the end of this series. I will continue doing FME videos, of course, like just actually using the platform. Yeah, thanks for joining me on this big long series, and congratulations for making it this far. Cheers.